It was a deceptively ordinary Tuesday in Portland. Rain lashed against the windows, wind rattled the old house, and inside, Elena Mitchell rummaged through the dusty recesses of her attic, desperate for a misplaced charger. The hunt led her to a cobweb-draped corner where, nestled behind old holiday decorations, sat a black case she'd never seen before. The case was sleek, outdated, and obviously expensive, but no label or engraving marked its surface. Curiosity piqued. Elena knelt down, brushed off the dust, unclipped the case, and gasped. Inside lay a smartphone, also black, sleek, and impossibly expensive, wrapped in a layer of silk cloth. Its screen was cracked, but the device still hummed faintly, alive and yet disconnected from any account or contact Elena knew. Her mind reeled. How could she have lived in that house for 12 years with her husband Daniel, an architect with a respectable firm, without ever seeing such an obviously pricey phone? Panic seized her. Was this Daniel's hidden affair? Did he have a secret life she'd unknowingly supported for years? Her gaze fell on the silk cloth, now crumpled in her hands. With shaking fingers, she unfolded it, revealing a faint design of intertwined rings, a wedding band and an engagement ring, just like hers. A single word was embossed below: Elena. Her fingers flew to her throat as the gravity of what she'd found crashed over her. This phone was not Daniel's. It was hers. Or rather, it was meant to be hers. But how? And why? Why did the case have her initials if the phone wasn't hers? And why did it feel like she'd always known about it? Like it was a misplaced piece of a puzzle she'd never seen, but had somehow instinctively reached for. She brought the phone downstairs, sat heavily on the couch, and stared at the unresponsive screen. It demanded a 4-digit code, one she didn't know. Her mind raced, desperately searching for a link, an explanation. Then, with a sudden lurch, she remembered. It was their wedding anniversary, April 19th, their 10th year together. Could it really be? Had Daniel bought her this phone as a gift? To hide it away like this? It didn't make sense. But what other answer was there? Hesitantly, she typed the date, 4/19. The screen flashed and the phone whirred to life, unlocking with a soft chime, revealing a home screen set to a photo of her and Daniel, younger versions of themselves smiling brightly on their honeymoon in Santorini. Nausea rolled through Elena. It was like stumbling upon a secret diary, finding proof of a past she'd never known she'd been living. With trembling hands, she navigated through the phone, each click echoing the pounding of her heart. The first folder she saw was labeled Clara. Beneath it, hundreds of photos. Her stomach lurched. Was this Clara? The name Daniel had mentioned once years ago, a former colleague from his firm, the one Elena had briefly met at a company picnic, remembering only her quiet smile and gentle handshake. Elena swiped through the photos, her breath catching in her throat. There were casual shots, then intimate ones. Beach walks, hotel rooms, quiet dinners for two, laughter echoing in the twilight. Elena's eyes widened in disbelief. These photos spanned years. They were intricately organized, meticulously labeled Clara. Was this Daniel's hidden affair? There were pictures of a hospital room, of a woman lying in a bed, cradling a baby swaddled in a pale blue blanket. Elena felt a physical blow, a gasp catching in her throat. The realization hit her like a tidal wave. This was his child, the secret he'd been hiding for years. And then the photos of Noah, the little boy, the child who grew older, whose laughter echoed in these captured moments, in these stolen memories. Elena's hands trembled. She sank to the floor, the weight of the discovery crushing her. Then she saw it, a folder titled Messages. She clicked it open, and the first message sliced through her like shards of glass. It was from Daniel to Clara, dated 2 years ago. I love you. I don't know how much longer I can keep up the charade. I'm sorry. Below it, another, meet me at the usual place tomorrow. I have something to tell you, please. As she scrolled, the messages painted a stark picture. A secret affair spanning 7 years, a love born in the shadows, nurtured in stolen moments, hidden away from the world. And then the final message, dated just 2 weeks before Clara's death, shattered her completely. I love you both so much. I'll leave her when Noah turns 5. I can't keep living this lie. I want to be with you both. The message ended with a shaky postscript. I'm so sorry. Daniel's handwriting filled the screen. Elena felt like she'd been punched in the gut. Was this why he'd become so distant? Why he'd stopped trying for a baby after their miscarriage 5 years ago? He already had a son. He already had a life outside of theirs. In a shaking voice, Elena called out to him, but no answer came. She was alone. She felt like she'd just uncovered an earthquake in her life, one that would rewrite everything she thought she knew. Then she found it, a folder titled Voice Memos. Her hands shook as she clicked it open. Inside, a single recording dated 2 weeks before Clara's death. She pressed play. It was Daniel. His voice, hushed, raw with emotion, spilled out. "I love you. I don't know how much longer I can keep up the charade. I'm sorry." Elena pressed her palm against her chest, feeling the frantic beat of her heart. She listened to him, to the turmoil in his voice, to the echoes of his love for Clara, for Noah. She heard him whisper promises, apologies, confessions, and as she absorbed his words, a new question arose. Did she really want to know the rest of the story? Would the truth set her free or just leave her broken? Still, she pressed on. She found a second voice memo, this one from 3 months prior. In it, Daniel spoke again, his voice strained, defeated. "I need to tell her. I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry, Noah." Each word struck Elena, piecing together fragments of a life she never knew existed. She found more voice memos, each one adding a layer to the hidden reality that had been woven alongside her own. And then she saw it, a file in the sent folder, a draft email addressed to Clara's mother. It was from Daniel. He wrote, "I'll increase the monthly support. Just let me see him sometimes. He's my son, and I miss him." Elena's eyes welled up. He'd been paying child support all these years, but he'd never claimed him, never fought for him, never told a soul. Hours passed. Elena sat frozen on the attic floor, the rain drumming against the skylight above her, the silence punctuated only by the ticking of an old clock somewhere in the house. The attic window streamed in streaks of gray light, painting moving patterns across the worn wooden floorboards. Elena felt like she'd been sitting there for days, the weight of her discovery pressing down on her. But slowly, as the light faded and the rain softened, something shifted within her. A profound sadness settled in her chest, but it was laced with a strange sense of clarity. The attic, with its dusty relics and hidden secrets, seemed to shrink around her, pressing in on her like the walls of a tomb. Carefully, she got to her feet, her legs stiff from sitting. She walked to the case, picked it up, her fingers tracing the embossed initials, EM. Carefully, she opened it, smoothing out the silk cloth, placing the phone back inside. She buttoned the case, tucked it back behind the boxes and cobwebs, then descended the attic stairs. As she stepped into the kitchen, she noticed the chipped mugs on the counter, remnants of their last cup of coffee together. She remembered the miscarriage 5 years prior, the grief, the hospital stay, Daniel holding her hand, his presence distant. He hadn't been ready then, not like he was with Clara, not like he was with Noah. The realization washed over her again, a tidal wave of heartbreak. He'd already had a child. His heart had already moved on. He'd chosen Clara, chosen Noah. That night, Elena slept in the guest room. Daniel didn't ask questions, didn't seek her out in the darkness. In the morning, she woke to birdsong, sunlight streaming through the curtains. She slipped out of bed and went to the bathroom. Staring at her reflection, she saw a stranger looking back at her own face etched with exhaustion, betrayal, and dawning understanding. Over the next few weeks, Elena watched him closely. She noticed the way he'd stare at his watch every Thursday afternoon, the same time Clara's mother received her monthly check. She saw how he flinched when Seattle came up on the news, how he sometimes whispered a name into his pillow at night. Noah. Slowly, Elena began to piece together the fragments of a life she'd unknowingly shared for years. She learned about Clara's family, about Clara's death, about the son she'd left behind. It was like assembling a mosaic, each piece fitting into place, forming a complete, agonizing picture. One night, Elena drove to Seattle without telling Daniel. She found the small house near Green Lake where Clara's mother lived and watched from her car as an energetic little boy with Daniel's eyes and Clara's curls played in the yard laughing as his grandmother pushed him on a swing. She didn't approach them. She couldn't. She felt like a ghost, the wife of a man who'd built two lives, one real and one performative, and she'd been the one living in the illusion. Back home, Elena started writing. Not a letter, not a confrontation, but a journal addressed to the version of herself 10 years younger, full of warnings, sorrow, and heartbreaking clarity about love, trust, and the quiet violence of omission. A few weeks later, Daniel came home one evening with a nervous energy, carrying a small gift bag. He said he wanted to talk, to start over, to be honest. Elena knew he was planning to confess, perhaps even leave, but she didn't wait. That night, she packed a single suitcase and left the journal on the kitchen table with a note that read, "I know about Noah, I know about Clara, I know you never loved me the way you said you did," and walked out without turning back. Months passed. Elena moved to a coastal town in Northern California. She didn't use her married name. She took a job at a library. She volunteered at a children's grief center, not to heal, but to understand the wounds that never fully close. One afternoon, while shelving books, she found a children's story titled, "The Man Who Lived Two Lives." She opened it and found a dedication, for Noah, who deserves to know the truth one day. Her hands trembled, but she closed the book gently and returned it to the shelf. Years passed. Elena never married again. She adopted a rescue dog, planted a garden, and on quiet nights, she still listened to the voice memo once, just once, not to hurt herself, but to remember that the truth, no matter how late, had finally set her free.